Yeah, we're ready.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming on and next to the mic. And I have two beautiful queens on my platform right now. I am so excited. And I just want everybody to just tune in and share. We have Tamika Thrasher. She is the Thrasher Cleaning Services. And we have Shayna Knight with Boys and Girls Club. And so I'm going to say a little. First, I'm going to say that I got it mixed up in so many ways. And these ladies are like blowing me up, like, it's like, okay, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to fix it. So, Boys and Girls Club, I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
And I'm not gonna take away that she has her own business. So I mean, hey, I'm gonna give you props on that. And I have to say personally, I remember Shayna Knight when she was just like a counselor working. Crestwood, was it Crestwood Middle?
Yes.
Yes, Crestwood Middle. And I had an after school program there, and she was a counselor there. And now I have seen Shayna like grow into this big person that's on magazines. I'm trying to grow like her.
We all.
And I know. And then Tamika Thrasher with this cleaning services, and you're on the magazine also. But I have to say, for everybody that's watching, that we are not related in any type of form or fashion. So when you see her, she's not running for state delegate. And when you see me, I am not her sister. I mean, I might be her sister in Christ and everything like that, but we are not like blood related in any type of form or fashion. But I mean, hey, we're both great women. We're all three great women. So I don't have a problem being associated with her, but we are not related any type of way. Okay, guys. so I'm going to start with some questions. They are not hardball questions. We're just going to have a great discussion about being a Black woman, a leader in the community, as leaders, because people talk about you. I mean, they talk about the great work that you do in Frederick. And so tell me, Shayna, what you do at the Boys and Girls Club. And I want you, Tamika Thrasher, tell me about your cleaning services, because I want to know about it. And I know a lot of people. So Shayna, go ahead and tell me what you do at
So I'm coming up on my 3-month anniversary. I am the director of development, and I go out and I find resources, money, things that'll benefit the kids and the club as a whole. I also do some of the marketing for the club. So what you see posted on social media, getting the word out about all the fun things we do. I am behind that as well.
Okay, great. And I seen that great commercial. I think the commercial.
Shout out to 88 Visual for that.
Yes. Shout out to
them. Mm-hmm.
And Tamika, what do you do with the cleaning service?
What don't I do? So I am one of the owners, operations manager. So I handle, dealing with the clients, dealing with the staff, the hiring, the firing, dealing with different vendors as far as new cleaning supplies, trying to make changes as far as our Facebook page is concerned, our website is concerned, as far as like COVID and all the changes we had to do with that. So I even go out and clean when, my staff calls out or they can't work, or I get a new client and I don't have anyone to, start. So I do it all.
And so is your cleaning company do big commercial buildings? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so we're commercial. Yep, we're commercial cleaning. So we started out being green cleaning, which is really our focus. That's what we do. But because of COVID, we had to kind of switch things around slightly, just because no one's really looking for that green cleaning per se. That has really been our focus for our business. As far as commercial is concerned, we don't do any residential. I do get residential calls, and when I get those, I kind of forward those on to my residential cleaning contacts that I have here in the city and the county. Yeah.
And I'm gonna get into more about that cleaning thing and about your business, but I want to talk about the word leadership. So when you ladies think about the word leadership, tell me what comes to your mind when you think about leadership and how it applies to you as a leader in the community.
I'll go first. The biggest thing for me with leadership that I've especially learned too over the last year is leadership isn't about being a face. It's about what you actually do and what you represent, like what your morals are, and especially just leading from the back. People are always watching you, and I feel like sometimes when you mean well, you do things, but not for recognition. You just so happen to get recognition, but you don't do them for those things. You do it out of the goodness of your heart, and just bringing people with you. It's like, you showing people what's right, just by the way you live your life.
Yeah. And Tamika, how do you feel about leadership?
So leadership is that example. It starts from the top. And so, you want to be that leader, as Shana mentioned. Everyone's watching. And so, you're doing things not because you're going to get recognition or, people are going to call you out and give you praise. You're doing it because it's the right thing to do. And then being that servant leader, showing others the way. And if you're showing them the way and they take off and they do things bigger and better, to commend them and congratulate them and be excited for them. And leadership is not, it's not something that comes to everybody. Not everyone's a leader. And so, you are that leader, in a good way. You want to use those skills that are beneficial all the way around, rather be in the community, the job that you do, with your kids, with your friends, whatever the case may be, because everyone's watching, even when you don't think they're watching.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was just writing something today, and that's something that I put in there. Like, being a leader, everybody's watching and the mic is always on. Like, they are always watching you. And I know that, Tamika, you also show leadership in the Boys and Girls Club, and with volunteering and being a volunteer and leading from behind is so important. I mean, everybody wants that recognition. And when I have to say, me personally, when people come to me, it's hard for me to even accept like that, like, oh my God, great job. It's hard for me. I feel like I'm trying to always find ways to be humble, right? Say, okay, this is just something I naturally do. If you weren't watching, I would still be doing it. So, and that is what leadership is meaning. Like, you can wake up naturally doing it. And I know public service I'm pretty sure public service isn't in you ladies because you're doing it every day. And so yes, leadership is about leading from behind. Everybody's always watching you and just making an impact. And I tell people, you're not going to touch everybody, but if you touch that one person and plant that seed, I mean, the garden just grows. And so you just have to keep doing that. And you ladies are doing that in the community. I mean, I hear about you ladies everywhere. And I finally have Tamika Thrasher in my And Shana Knight, I am so amazed. Like, I just be like, wait, what is happening? And so I have to move on to what's happening. Soul Street. I mean, wow. Like, that is just like, let's get on the Black page real quick, right?
Yes.
Being a Black woman in Frederick as a leader is huge, right?
Yeah.
So, and are you ladies from Frederick? Are you, Shana, you're from Frederick?
I've lived here most of my life.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just say I'm from Frederick. I grew up here pretty much. But
yeah,
I was born in Montgomery County and went to school there, and then came to Frederick and stayed.
And Tamika, are you from Frederick?
I am not, but I grew up in New York, grew up in the Bronx, so I'm city girl always, forever, in my soul, in my heart. But I've been in Frederick over 25 years, so it's it's home. My husband's here, my kids are here, so it's home. But New York will always be in me, always.
Yeah, and so over the years, I know you ladies have seen Frederick like. Oh, it's grown. Like, I've only been here 9 years, and I'm like, whoa! Like, this is, it has. So I can know for you ladies, it's just like what's happening, right? And so I think during COVID, that whatever happened went globally with Black Lives Matter, just it shifted everything, and it made a huge shift in Frederick. I mean, and I think it was necessary. But then Soul Street came around. And I was like, what? I'm happy. And we get Icon Nation stuff from Soul Street all the time. So, and we get their stuff. I mean, I love that you thought about that idea of and being, and you lady and the other ladies that thought about this idea of just bringing Black market, common market, those whole pop-up things in the community, supporting Black people.
Yeah.
And so, Tamika, you've been here for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
You have thought something like everything that's happening in Frederick would have happened? Like, how does that feel to you watching it all happen?
It's a great thing. I mean, when anything evolves and changes for the good and for the positive, and it encourages others to do what they need to do and encourages others to, be bigger and better, better persons and to do more in the community, it's huge. And so when I moved here, that was not the movement. It was nowhere close to being the movement. And there's a lot of people in our community that have been part of the movement. It's just now the movement is on a larger scale and there's so many people watching, right? Like you said, the mic is always on and there's so many people watching, and it's good and bad. Some people that are watching and they love it and some people that are watching and they hate it, right? So it really just all depends. So, yeah, but it's been a huge change.
And Shayna, and so now you have people calling you like, can I be part of Soul Street? So how do you?
Oh, sorry.
And how do you feel about that? I mean, I tried to make it to the ribbon cutting on the first one, and it was just like, now you guys are doing these ribbon cuttings. I didn't make the one with the business, but I did go buy some stuff from her, awesome. and I made the second part. But so I'm all about supporting Black businesses. So how do you feel about how it's evolving? And
it's amazing. And honestly, I will say this was truly a group effort. That's one thing that I will just address. I feel like my face gets put on it, and it might be because of the involvement I had in the community. I gathered a group of people, and I can go to sleep at night and be very satisfied that I just did that. But like for it to blossom and become what it is, everyone who's involved now had a huge part, extremely important to what we are now. And it is truly an amazing team because I wasn't even at the ribbon cutting this week, so I could go to the beach. Like, I didn't have to worry like that. They're not just a team, like they're all leaders. And I think it's amazing. And the fact that it has blossomed the way it has, great. Like, it's about time. I did go to school here, so I do know, like, I did get to see, like, what was available for me to go to, in the high school, college years, where I felt welcome. And then having Soul Street and seeing what we did with our very first July 4th market, I felt like finally a place where people can come be unapologetically themselves, and then other people can feel like, oh, this is new and not uncomfortable. We want everyone to come and feel comfortable, but we want people to experience some different culture and diversity because, I mean, at the end of the day, our culture is being sold by, not African American people, but you got to see the origin of like where our culture comes from and the businesses that deserve to get the respect and the money that they deserve for these items that, it's original. And it just feels really good to see what it's grown into. It's really becoming big in Frederick. We have amazing partnerships. It's overwhelming, but we all appreciate it. I just think it's a good time. I think Frederick's ready for this. Every time we have an event, we're like, yes, this was much needed. So we're really excited for the growth of it and the support. And for, most importantly, for the fact that it is a place, or it's an organization that's bringing people together. It's not just a place where Black people can go. We can feel comfortable, for once, but it's a place where everyone can come together. And it's about unity. And the same thing with our partnerships. We partner with all organizations, and we even partner with non-Black businesses outside of our markets to do things. So I'm really excited for what it's become.
And I honed in on some things you said, and it's saying we using the word comfortable a lot, like uncomfortable, comfortable. I mean, the fact that we have to use that word, it's kind of like I shouldn't have to use the word of I want to feel comfortable, or I shouldn't have to use the word to make you uncomfortable. It's like if you're uncomfortable, then get uncomfortable, because then being uncomfortable means good change, right? So when change happens, it's uncomfortable. So I know that, and I don't know if you strategically did not be there, but I noticed that you weren't there, and that's a good thing, right? Because people did put your face on it. but that was that humility of you to say, listen, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to let you ladies do it.
Mhm.
And that's the role of leadership. Like to say, and I know that there's been things that I've been part of, and I don't even put myself on it. I'm like, I don't even want my face on it. Y'all just do that, right? And I'll just put all the pieces together. I don't even need to be seen in that. So, and so that's a good thing about you. And I noticed that. I did notice, and I was like, okay, I see what she's doing. I like that. So it was, I pay homage to you. So Tamika, now I know that COVID affected many businesses.
Mhm.
And so you being a business owner, and how did COVID affect your business? And then there's another question in that. How did COVID affect your business? And another is a topic about Black contractors that's been going around in Frederick when it comes to Black contractors getting contracts with government, getting contractors for business. Have you been in the mix of that, and how did COVID affect you?
So I'm going to answer the first question. So COVID did affect us in a huge way. I had to let go of people. You know, fortunately, unfortunately, a lot of our clients were not medical based clients. And so when Governor Hogan shut everything down, everybody shut down. So if you were in office space, you were no longer in that office space, which in turn means if you're not in that office space, you don't need Thrashers or any business for that matter to come in and do any cleaning because no one's in there, right? So while we thought it was going to be temporary and those clients were saying, well, we're going to be working from home, we don't need you to come in. That started out being a week, that then went to 2 weeks, that then went to 3 weeks. And before you know, we're 6-7 months out and those businesses have not come back into their office space. And actually a lot of them are now, their spaces are open for lease, like new businesses are coming in. It doesn't mean that those businesses have closed, but what they've done is they've adapted and they've evolved and they no longer need to have that office space. Their people are now working from home, which probably wouldn't have happened if we didn't have COVID. So you then adapt, you figure out ways, you try to figure out how can you reinvent your business and change things. Like I said earlier, we were a green cleaning business and our focus has always been on disinfecting because I'm a germaphobe. That's always been our focus, but we had to really reinvent, like everything we do now is about disinfecting, not just about green cleaning anymore. As far as Black contracts, I don't say that I see it now. I would say Black owned businesses may see that, but as a Black woman to own business, I haven't seen that. I mean, I have contracts, but they're not anything new that I've gotten since COVID or since things have changed in the last year or two. Those are not businesses that I could say, or contracts I can say, oh, well, because they're making this change and they're doing things to support Black owned businesses, I've now gotten this new contract because of that. I can't see it. I've not seen it. So.
And that's something I definitely think that we all need to advocate for, because they will say, oh yeah, we're giving out to the Black businesses and Black owned businesses. Okay, but we have Black women businesses also that should be at the table. And so those contracts should be going to those businesses, especially if we want to keep throwing around the word diversity and inclusion. So I know me personally, like when I thought about Black owned businesses and women, I thought about your company and was like, I wonder if she's getting these contracts. I wonder if she's getting, the good end of this part, or when she applies, does she get overlooked or things like that? And how can we change that narrative to make sure that businesses like yourself and other businesses are getting the same, respect that other businesses are getting? You know what I'm saying? I mean, Shayna, you have other business, you support these businesses, and how can they get those storefronts, and how can they get all that to support Black businesses? Because if we're going to talk about diversity and inclusion, we need to be about it, and we need to hold the right people accountable to make sure that we are doing that. How are you ladies?
Can I say something? Okay, cool. Because this is an amazing platform, and I know even if people aren't watching now, they're going to watch this back, and your videos get some views. Okay, so I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that we have talked about as a group at Soul Street. A lot of people reach out to us now that our name is out there and they want to partner with us. And that's great, right? We love it. Obviously, we don't have the capacity to jump on every partnership, but someone made a really good point. Be careful, because now DEI is being attached to things where, like funding, or people are just doing it to look good. They're not doing it for the right reasons. And I think now is the time for businesses and organizations to really bend over backwards and show that you mean what your statement says. Take it a step further, you know what I mean? So you just got to be careful about what's genuine and what's not. But to your note, we are having a lot of conversations with important, organizations about how they can be more inclusive. So those are things that, while you had a quiet period, we were really busy behind the scenes, meeting weekly, talking to officials and talking to, Downtown Frederick Partnership. And that's just one of the things that Soul Street does. We just want to be a voice for these businesses. So I'm sure you guys will see more on that soon, but it is something that we are extremely passionate about. We're more than just markets and ribbon cuttings. Right. We want to see real change, and we want to see it happen here in Frederick. So,
and what I can, sorry, Shayna, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say is that I can say that I have a ton of supporters in Frederick and surrounding areas, and I have a ton of, businesses that have supported Thrashers over the years and have hired us. So I don't want it to get twisted or misunderstood that I'm saying that no one is supporting Thrashers or people aren't supporting Black-owned businesses. I can say that the clients that I have gained have not been because I was a Black-owned business or Black female-owned. Right. It was because those relationships that I've built and the things that I've done in the community, rather it be, with the school system, for the PTA, or things that I've done with my kids, or, connections that I had that people connected me to other people. So I do have a ton of supporters, and the clients that I do have are supporting me and helping my business grow during this difficult time. What I can say is that no one has said, you know what, we're trying to jump on DEI, and we want to be, we want to make sure that we're being diverse, and we want to make sure that we are looking at all these key indicators to ensure that the money is going to a Black woman-owned business. I can say that I have absolutely not had anybody or any, government contracts or anybody in Frederick County say, hey, I'm reaching out to you because this is what we're trying to do and we want to involve your business. Again, it may be other Black-owned businesses in Frederick County, Frederick City, but not my Black-owned business. And so, and some of those conversations I've had to have is that while people have supported, as this year has passed and, this 18 months we've been home and we've been dealing with COVID, I've also watched other organizations really take a turn, veer off kind of crazy. And I have decided, as a business owner, that businesses and organizations that I personally supported and my business supported, when I see that you don't support Black lives and you don't support things that need to happen and change, I'm taking my Black money somewhere else. And that's what I'm supposed to do, because, as things happen, you may not necessarily have that voice to be able to say and jump out there on social media or wherever the case is to be an advocate. And I'm not necessarily gung-ho that person, but I can tell you that my money matters. And so if I feel that you've not supported, the change, and you've not been a part of the change or have been an advocate for the change, then my money doesn't need to support you. I can take my Black-owned money somewhere else. And so that's been my personal stance, that as I see things shifting kind of crazy with certain individuals or certain businesses, I'm shifting an opposite way and trying to remove myself from that. So.
And I thank you, ladies, for saying that. And Shayna, you're right. A lot of people do watch this show, and I watch it grow, and how many people watch and how many people get reached to. And I have to say that I have this analogy, is that what you two ladies are doing is gathering crumbs, right? So it's kind of like you say, I had to work for this, I had to work for that. You're not saying that they're not supporting, but you had to put in that elbow work. And I tell people, and I will tell anybody, any elected official that says diversity and inclusion, I don't want the crumbs, I want the whole pie. So stop giving me crumbs and saying that, oh, we're giving you this. No, I want the whole pie. So I do want that government contract. I do want that storefront. I do not want the crumbs. So, and that's what people need to understand, is that our Black communities, we don't have to ask for crumbs anymore. And like you said, our money does matter. So if you don't support it, we can take it somewhere else.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
and so I am a firm believer, put your money where your mouth is. I don't need you to come to the ribbon cuttings to show that you came. I need you to support. I don't, like that is what needs to happen.
We will hold you accountable if you partner with us. We will make sure
hold them accountable. And Tamika, I think that definitely, like, we need to fight for organizations, for a business like yourself, to get those contracts. Like, we need to put a face and a name with it, because when we get to the table, we just say Black contracts. No, we need to say the Thrasher Cleaning Company needs that contract. We need to put a face and a name with what business we're talking about. And that, I think, is so powerful, because now you're holding them accountable. Now I didn't know about that person, or I didn't know about this business. Yeah, you did. It was in writing and you heard me say it. So put your money where your mouth is. So that's why I think moving forward, I know as myself that I however I can do that on this platform, when I do have those meetings, I have to say, like, listen, what about this person? What about this business? I know I seen you at that ribbon cutting where you just did to show your face. I mean, what are we doing here, right? So as you Black women have been in this community, I had a discussion with some high schoolers on my platform, and I asked them, and you guys are mothers, and Shana, you have this beautiful little girl, and Tamika, you have kids that are like about to leave the nest.
Not yet. I don't want to push my babies out yet. I have now. They do look like they're adults, but they're still, they're my babies. I got some years on them now. They'll be with me for a little bit. So
how old are your kids?
So my son is 14 and my daughter's 12. So Rogan is 12, 6th grade, and Gregory is 14 and he is in 8th grade. So
so they're just really tall.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, your baby's going to be with you for a minute. Shana, how old is your baby?
She's 3.5.
Yay. Yeah. Well, you guys have so you guys have I have a 23-year-old and a grandbaby that's 1. And I have my 17-year-old and my 9-year-old. So
was your 9-year-old son the one you had with you at Boys and Girls Club? I remember seeing a little one with you. You had
my 9-year-old little girl is a girl or boy. So he was probably younger then.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he was probably younger then. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a tiny thing. He's not tiny anymore.
Yep.
They grow up.
They do grow up. So but you guys also mentor kids in high school and things like that. And
mm-hmm.
And so one of the discussions that we talked about is how they were going to leave Frederick. They were not going to stay in Frederick. They were going to leave, go to college. They will come back here when they have kids. So I want to know, because you ladies have been here for so long and you work in Frederick, you live in Frederick. Mm-hmm. I don't work in Frederick. I work outside of Frederick, but I live in Frederick. And I can say economically, I don't think I could live in Frederick and work in Frederick because they just wouldn't pay me enough. So, I mean, like, and you have your own business, so you're good to me.
So it's interesting because I can actually say, but before I started the business, I was an executive with a large mortgage company, and so I used to work down the road, and it was great, and the pay was phenomenal. And then I had a kid and said, I don't want to have to drive down 270 every day and have a kid in daycare and be unsure, like if my kid gets sick, if I'm going to be able to make it home in time, or whatever the case is. And I got a job in Frederick, and while that was great and ought to be close, my pay cut in half basically. Yeah. But you figure it out. It's like, okay, you have a family, and I always say what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So you hustle, you figure it out. And honestly, when we started this business, it was really to have some side hustle, like some extra money coming in. I said, I'm a germaphobe. So it was kind of like, let's bring this extra money in. And then my son had a ton of allergies, and it kind of grew, and it kind of just did its own thing. And then once I got laid off from that company, my husband Greg was like, well, you got to figure something out. You're not going to, he was like, you got to figure something out. And so I was like, oh, what do I do now? And he's like, well, you probably, we've put so much effort and you put so much more effort into the business. Maybe this is something that you should do. And that skill set and that managerial skills that you've learned while you worked in corporate, managing people in different departments and different groups and overseas and all that type of stuff is something that you can kind of implement in the business. And so that's one of the things that kind of helped, which is one of the things that has helped me as I do things in the community, and I'm at the Boys and Girls Club volunteering. I'm the chair there on the different boards that I'm on. That's kind of what pushes me to do that, because it's like, okay, you already have this skill set. Now you can just use that skill set to help others, to motivate others, to acknowledge them and let them know that they're doing a great job, or what they need to bring more to the table later on, or to be to have that seat at the table. These are the key things that you need to do to make sure that you are visual and people see you and they know what you're doing, because people will see you all day but not really know what it is that you're doing. So in order for you to have that seat and make sure people acknowledge you, you have to have that skill set. So
and so that's what I want to know, like, how are you ladies empowering youth to pour into the community that they were grew up in, and at the same time, how are you advocating the community to say, listen, only way we're going to keep these younger populations to keep Frederick growing, we need to bring more money to the table. So it's kind of like, these kids, they would love to stay in Frederick, but they just can't afford it. So it's like, how are you guys being impactful with that? And
so my history, and I think it's a lot of the reasons why I tend to get recognized, because I've been through, so I went to Boys and Girls Club, but I worked for United Way, who released the Alice report. But in my time at United Way, I have to say, before I worked there, I was like, I got to get out of Frederick. Like, I don't want to be here. But when I learned about all the different nonprofits and the different resources that they offer, I remember I thought to myself at once, okay, if I were to lose my job tomorrow and hit rock bottom, I know where to go for food. I know where to go for clothes. I know how to get my rent paid at the time. And there's even mortgage assistance. I feel like, and then one really cool thing that United Way does that the Y is taking over is the Summer Serve program. And that was a huge light bulb moment for me, because what it does essentially, it takes middle school to high school aged kids out in the community to volunteer at these nonprofits. And these kids come in so unengaged, don't even care what's going on. It's summertime, it's early. It's a 2-week session that they go out and volunteer. So they're planting, crops at the community gardens, and then throughout the summer watching them grow and then harvesting them. They're giving out meals at the soup kitchen. They're going to all the different nonprofits, and they're not just volunteering, they're learning about the services that are there. And they're meeting community leaders. So when they're done the program, they're really excited about what they had done, how they spent their time. They got hours they need for, graduation. And they feel like, wow, I'm part of this community now. And I think service is really important for these kids, because right now, especially with virtual learning, they're on their phones. I think really taking these kids and providing an experience outside of the virtual world, which we do at Boys and Girls Club as well, is extremely important. They need to feel connected to the community. And that is something that at Boys and Girls Club we're working on now. We have Club on the Go, just making them feel like they belong. And, in our teen center as well, we did things like that. We're getting ready to start it back up. That is important. And even as a leader, and I think that's my main thing, is connecting people, just connecting them to a mission that they are passionate about, because we all have a gift of time. And we can give a little bit of it somewhere. You just got to find where you want to give your time. But once you do that, you feel like you're part of this community. And it's not just kids, it's adults. There's grown adults in Frederick who just go to work and go home. And I feel like they don't feel like their voice matters. They might vote, that's it. But I feel like having that volunteer piece really makes you feel like you're a part of something. And yeah, so I just think that's really important to instill in the kids when they're young. And I know that I'm going to do it with my daughter when she's old enough. I already started. So, yeah.
Yeah, those are things that you have to work on when they're young, like for Ashton Young. those are things that I've done with my kids, but I think I've embraced it more because I'm part of Jack and Jill. And so Jack and Jill has really allowed me for me to be involved in the community. I've always kind of done things in the community, but as the business has grown, I've been able to meet other people, joined other good, other organizations, and been able to volunteer. And then I show my kids that, these are the things that you want to be able to do. These are, you don't want to do it because people are watching. You want to do it because this is the right thing to do, and you have passion for it. And this is a good thing. This is like a goodwill, good deed to do. But being part of Jack and Jill has really allowed me to embrace more and to really be that servant leader. And then you show your kids how to be those servant leaders at a very, very young age. So when they are ready to go off to college, they have that experience. They've gotten thousands of hours in because they've just been doing things in the community, from, if you join Jack and Jill and you're an infant, 3-4 years old, however old, to high school, you have all these years of just doing things in the community, and not just your community, other communities, to partner up with other Jack and Jill organizations and other moms and other kids in different communities. So, these are all things that, at least for me, I'm teaching my kids because I'd like for them to stay in Frederick. My son wants to be in New York. I'm not sure where my daughter wants to be, but they still have time. So,
and these things they build character, and then they teach like a natural leadership. I think, I don't know what path I was headed down until I went and volunteered for my first time, but I think that really steered me onto a different path. This was in college, by the way. So I just really think that it creates this thing in you, and it just makes your heart grow bigger, and it makes you more compassionate and empathetic, and it makes you just really care about people. And then you're just doing these things. You find yourself doing them because you just care, not for a Facebook picture or for recognition. And I think that's what is huge in leadership. It kind of is like full circle back to what we talked about, but it's really a huge character building thing for kids, and it's key, and it teaches leadership.
And I have to agree with that. And Shana, when you said who was I bringing with me, I think it probably was my daughter. And when I looked up over the pictures, like I see that I did that with my daughter. Like, she was giving out food at 3, and I looked at those pictures where she was carrying bags to giving out food. She was always with me doing things in the community. And I think you ladies have done a great job with that. I mean, Tamika, you just mentioned Jack and Jill, and then you're also really involved with the Boys and Girls Club. And when mothers show their kids how it's done by little, I mean, my daughter now, she wants to be the president. Like, she's really firm about that. Like, she's like, I gotta go to Harvard where Obama went. I'm like, she's like, I know how many rooms in the White House. I'm like, okay, like she is. She watches news. She knows about politics. She knows about all those things. And I think it's because I instilled it in her. She watches me, right? So she's got that whole like humanitarian in her. She's in
that drive.
Right. And you just got to be that example. And I think you're doing a great job with that. And especially with your kids and, and other people's kids, because it's people like you ladies that give other kids hope. And like you said, some parents just don't have the time. But if you have people like yourselves that just keep planting seeds in them and pouring into them, they become, I know it warms you guys, ladies' hearts when y'all see those kids grow and you're like, whoa, like they're like changed people. And when they first walked in,
I see my Crestwood kids like driving, honking machines. Right. I'm like, oh my gosh, because I was a little concerned about you at one point, but I feel like there was more in that. And I'm sorry, but like the majority of the kids, all the kids that I see that I knew, they're all doing amazing. Going to hair school, nursing, college, driving, like it makes me feel like I was a small part of that. And I'll never this is the only time I'll ever say that out loud. But like I'm like, I played a small role in they probably did at some point. Yeah. But they also love me and they said hi to me. So if they hated me, they wouldn't say hi to me. But I cared about those.
That's the example, when you and I talk about things, those are the examples. I'm like these small things, I grew up in New York and I went to the Boys and Girls Club when I was in New York. And so for me, those relationships you build young and then you say, oh my goodness, they made an impact, rather whatever it might be. And then as an adult, it's like, okay, well, these individuals could have been doing other things, but they were volunteering at the Boys and Girls. They were helping. They were, they were counselors. They were directors. They were teaching the kids, how to swim when most of us didn't know how to swim, and they were out there doing all that. These are the things that, like, for me, I want to be able to do, because those were very impactful moments for me as a child when my mom was a single parent, and she's working and she's dropping me off, making sure my brother and I are doing what we need to do. So those are all skill sets. As much as I say, as a child, I would say I'm never going to be like my mother when I grow up, and then I find myself doing a lot of the same things that she instilled in me, and now I'm an adult and I'm like, I'm doing the same things my mom did. I'm saying the same things she said. So it's just kind of it naturally just happens.
And so that leads me to my next question. So you ladies, how are you going to pay it forward, or how are you looking to pay it forward, if you are, to mentor other Black women in the community to be trailblazers, to be change agents, to be leaders? I mean, Shayna and Tamika, if you ever need me to come get dirty in the garden, I love gardening, so I would definitely like that will make my heart smile if I can go and do that with the kids. How are you doing this for other women in our community, and have you thought about it of how you could do that for other women in the community and being a mentor?
I haven't really thought about it. So just, are you saying like, how are we helping each other as Black women?
Yeah, how are you helping each other? How are you just like pouring into other Black women? Yeah. I mean, Tamika, you started your own business. Like, how are you helping other Black women if they want to start their own business? I mean, Shayna, you Soul Streets. How are you? Yeah, like, how are you making that connection and empowering?
Just being there, like with kids in general. I mean, there's a lot of single mothers, or there's a lot of mothers who aren't single who need help. Just being there, helping raise their kid through the Boys and Girls Club, or providing a space, getting the resources to continue to have a space for them to send their kids, a safe environment where their kids can excel in school, because all of our kids are doing amazing virtually and on this hybrid schedule. And then Soul Street, I know my friends, like their family, and even if I know you, like, I just feel like there's no reason to not be a support. So if someone is like, hey, so I'll share that you were talking about the cost of living. I bought my home through a United Way program, which is amazing because they do stuff for families who are considered ALICE, which a lot of us are. And it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's just how it is. But now, like, if anyone sees that I bought a home and that I did it, and they're like, hey, I want to do this, I'm more than glad to take the time and like help walk them through the process, or connect them with resources, or if they want to volunteer, just being a resource to people. I just want people to feel like they can reach out to me. And that's the thing. If my face is going to be on anything, just know that I will live by what, what I mean? That's something every day, just living as a leader, not only on the outside, on the inside, and behind closed doors at my house. Like, I'm trying to be a better person every day. So you can always just message me on Facebook, and I'm glad to help. But we should all lift each other up.
And Tamika, is there anything that you want to say about your cleaning company? Do you want to do a shout out, or you need some businesses? I don't know. How do you do that?
Yeah, tell me about it. Some days I don't know. I can say I have an amazing office manager. She holds it down every single day when she's in there, like just making sure I'm all the way together, so I'm not all over the place. I think for me, my main focus is really, the business, growing the business, and making sure that I am providing an outstanding service for my clients. One of the things that I pride myself on is customer service, and being an honest business owner, and, making sure that I can do the best for my clients. And I'm looking for people. I'm trying to hire. I have positions that I need to fill, and I need workers. And unfortunately, in this particular career and this business that I have, this particular type of work, not everyone wants to do. And so it takes a different type of person. And so it's hard to find good, honest workers these days, because, a lot of people can stay home now and not have to work and get paid because of all the, unemployment options and things that people can get and not have to work. So that's a struggle. But for me, I think my biggest thing as far as like helping. I try to be a resource. People have reached out to me to say, well, how did you start your business, and what was your passion, and what was the driving force, what pushes you to do more and to continue to grow your business and to even still be involved in the community, all the things that I do. It's really just in me. And then I have kids that are watching me, right? So I need to make sure that I'm living the best right life for my kids to see that as an example. So when they grow up and they have kids, their memories and what they see are those good examples that, that their mom worked, and she, I make time to make sure that I'm at all their events and that I don't miss anything and that I show up to everything. And not only that, but then I support my friends. Like, Shayna's doing stuff. I'm like, I got you. I'll be there. I'll support you. So, just having that drive and that connection, and to also be a good friend, just be a good human, right? Nowadays, sometimes that's just difficult to find. Like, just be a good human and do the right thing because it's the right thing to do.
So I hope.
Sorry, I was going to say, I always ask myself, do I have the same 24 hours as Tamika? Because she literally does. No, seriously, when she says that, she shows up to everything. She's there for you. She never cancels, and I respect that so much. So I just had to say that.
Good for you. And I think I was gonna add to that, because I think like a lot of my friends be like, how do you make time to be my friend? And I'm like, I don't know. Like I just sometimes you just gotta pause, right? Or like how do you make time to go to your son's indoor lacrosse games? Like you just gotta kind of like say, hey, I'm going to be here now. And I tell people, if it's not on my work hours, I will be there. But right. A lot of people do things during my work hours, and I'm like, that 9 to 5 pays me. So I can't volunteer on a 3, like 9 to 5 on a Monday to Thursday if I'm working. So and I work for a city agency, so it's kind of like I can't be like I'm out, So so I understand like having to juggle that all, and so everybody. I hope people are. We're gonna be watching. Tamika says she needs employees. So if y'all are looking for a job and are great cleaners and good background, y'all might want to hit her up and get a job. I mean, and Shayna, what's something big that's happening in Boys and Girls Club? Summer's coming up. I know summer camp is huge. People are looking to get rid of their kids. Yeah. I mean, you can tell me how to.
We have so much going on. The first big thing is we are making our club go mobile. So we'll be offering our stuff to our members, but we know that with COVID and not being able to serve as many kids as we could, or kids that have barriers to accessing youth development programs, we're going to go to them. So we're planning a program schedule. We have this beautiful, colorful bus.
I've seen that bus.
Yes, it's awesome. So we're going to go through, different locations throughout the summer. Mark Billups is heading that up, and he's awesome. He makes everything cool and fun. So that's naturally just going to attract kids. Yeah. And it's just going to be a bunch of partnerships. Truly the community coming together and kids coming and having an activity to do so that they're not doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And then he's also going to be heading up our teen center that's kicking back off. It had to shut down because of COVID. But we know that the middle schoolers out there really need us right now, and we want to make sure we provide a safe space for them. So there will be more information on that. And then, summer camp, where, these kids only get a 5-week summer, and it's really sad, but we're going to make it a great experience for them and just, allow them to reset their minds after staring at screens.
For hours.
Also, for hours. I don't know how you do
months.
Yeah. But our directors, I just have to brag on them. I'm sorry, but we get compliments that they're all doing amazing. And it's because our staff are so dedicated to making sure these kids do well. When I walk in there, they're quiet. I have never seen kids so well behaved and like so engaged in school and virtual school. So, but that's what we have going on. And then we do have some big events that do support the club and the work we're doing. We're doing a golf tournament in June. And then we have
I will be there.
Oh, good. I will be a sponsor. Okay, probably not the time or place, but also our big cycling event, Tour de Frederick, which is awesome. I want to get on a bike.
I don't.
You work out. Come on.
I might fall out.
Do 100 miles for the kids. Do it for the kids.
Small distance for the kids. Do small distance for the kids.
I just have to plug Soul Street. We're back with our big market happening on May 29th. That is the day before I turn 30. So come celebrate the Soul Street and then celebrate with me. And then also we'll be doing our ribbon cuttings and we'll be doing a farmer's market at Common Market throughout the summer. Awesome. So if you don't follow us, make sure you find us. It's facebook.com/mysoulstreet or just search Soul Street and then My Soul Street on Instagram.
So if you ladies know, like I said, how I like to have fun with kids. So if however, please tell me, Shayna, and then Tamika, you volunteered there. So I know, Shayna, if you tell me like a month in advance, I will put it in my calendar.
I will give you plenty of notice. And if
please
I'm a kid, I'm still a kid. I'm about to be 30, but I still feel like a child on the inside.
I mean, so, I want to play. I want to play.
Let's go play kickball or something.
I love kickball is my favorite sport. Actually, as a kid, like I love kickball and dodgeball.
Oh man, or capture the flag. Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. So definitely, like, let me know, Tamika. I don't like cleaning, so I don't know.
Most people don't.
I was gonna ask you, do you clean houses? But you already answered that question.
I can send you to clean. I can send the cleaner your way.
Please do. So I mean, like, ladies, however I can engage. Like I said, if it's on a Saturday or on Friday, I will be there. But and I just want to support you, ladies. I thank you ladies for coming on and you guys do the great work that you're doing. And I'm pretty sure I'll see you more in the community. On my campaign trail, and my campaign manager is awesome, so she fills up my calendar very well. So I definitely hope to see you ladies more often in the community. And after the end of the summer, you ladies will be busy in the summertime. I'm pretty sure of it. Summer's gonna be a lot of fun for you ladies. And just keep empowering these youth. We need ladies like you to keep pouring into our youth because they are the future. And I mean, who could do it better than you ladies? I mean, your staff and whoever. Somebody's got to do it. So, ladies, thank you so much. Happy Mother's Day to you, ladies.
Thank you. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Just make sure. What are you ladies doing for Mother's Day? Are you doing something special?
I'm
doing nothing. No, I'm just gonna spend time with my family.
You're doing brunch? Where are you going to brunch at?
Brunch at Show. Sorry, I got a crazy dog over here.
Showroom.
We're going to Showroom.
Okay.
With my sister-in-law and my brother and the kids, and that'll be fun. And hanging out.
Shayna, are you doing anything special for Mother's Day?
Just gonna chill. We just got back from the beach and friends and their kids, so I'm just gonna chill. Maybe hang out with them at home because I love them so much. Really not do much. Yeah.
I need to find a beach. That's what I need to find. But
girls,
I told my daughter I wanted to go to Milk and Honey. It's a restaurant called Milk and Honey. It's
where's that?
It's like in Columbia area. So it's a Black-owned restaurant, and it looks delicious. So I'm like, that's what you need
to let me know how it is.
I will.
Out there.
Yeah. So I love you, ladies. Happy Mother's Day and great job.
Thank you so much. Bye. Bye.